So,
What's up? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty well.
What you been up to these days?
Not a lot. I mean, graduated high school and went to out of state college, but then I'm currently at a community college, still
Okay,
figuring it out, if you will. But
I hear you. That's fun. Well, it's quite often that happens to people. I think when I was working, like 50% of people change majors or change schools, so it's more common than you think.
yeah,
So, but how's this podcast been going for you?
um, it's been going, I would say, well. I mean, we've got up to 18 episodes now.
Okay, very cool.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I did one uh yesterday with Coach Pratt from Spalding. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, it was a hot minute since I've been back to school and kind of seeing everything, and um, you know,
did
because
you
I
go back?
because
Did you went back to school just to meet with them?
I'm yeah, I met we did it in a classroom, but because of the exams and everything, like the school was closed and everything, but there was like basketball going on at the time.
Gotcha. Nice. Well, I'm happy to help. So let me know what I can do, and I'm excited to see you kind of take on this route and this new activity, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, I was thinking, uh, I guess we might as well start the episode, if you will.
That's fine.
So this is welcome back to the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer McPartland, and I'm joined by Brian Phipps, who works at Severn Wealth Management and kind of helps families, you know, what's the word? Kind of think long term about what to do with their money. So my first question is kind of what's your what's your background, but kind of what got you into the financial field, if you will.
Yeah, I think kind of growing up, the one thing that you always have to worry about is the finance, the income, and the bills you have to pay as you get older, and what's the best way to manage that moving forward. My dad has been in the business for 35 years, so talking to him and my friends that have been in the business, it was always nice to talk to them as a side when I was doing my other career paths in the lacrosse world and teaching. And then he had an opportunity to join the firm, and I went to some schooling for it and some classes, and decided to pass my tests and licensing and all that. So I figured it'd be something to help because I always like the idea of helping and coaching and teaching. And now I'm just doing that in a different avenue of helping people plan their finances rather than teaching them history and study skills and lacrosse skills. It's now money management and financial planning moving forward.
Now, was the path originally to kind of be a teacher, but then you took a pivot to be a financial planner, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. I went to college to study history and education. So it was my plan to be a teacher and coach type thing in the long run. And then my schedule and my wife's schedules were kind of tough with our raising two kids and time commitments. And she coaches college lacrosse, and she's a coach at at Georgetown University. So time was tough. And this job at my dad's firm kind of presented itself. Did I ever think I'd work with him? Probably not, but I did some diving into it and some research and education and took some classes and said, you know what, I can do this. It's something that interests me, and I think it's very impactful for families, and that's what I want to do is help families.
So, what were you not expecting kind of getting into it that you you thought
I think
would
I think
be or wouldn't be?
Yeah, I think the unknown of, the stock market or finances, this or that, I think is something that it was more unknown to me, more so than intimidated or scared. I think I just wasn't as familiar with it in my teaching and coaching background. So taking the classes prior and doing the studying and learning up on kind of what is important for financial planning and wealth management, it helped me because I think that the unknown is what scared me at first because it's a whole new category of what I'd be doing. So that was the scary part of the unknown, but I kind of use my teaching and education background to go back to school and study and take notes and listen to these classes and those classes. So it was helpful that I had the education background and being in the teaching world because going back to school and taking those classes and et cetera was not as hard as it would have been for a 35-year-old that just hops in on into a new career.
Now, is there things that you learned, like either the first year or whatever it is, like shifting from being a teacher to being a planner?
Absolutely. I think my dad and his business partner and a few other staff members in the office were very helpful in teaching me how to go about things and the day-to-day operations or why things happen here. And like I said, I am a nerd and I like reading and learning about things. So each day it's either watching a YouTube video or reading a lesson here or a book there. So I try to teach myself a lot. And I think the best way of teaching yourself is by doing. So by that first year, there's a lot of wait, is this the right way to do it? Is that the right way to do it? Or asking the superiors, like, what would you guys do here? Was something that was very helpful for me, kind of diving right into it and learning on the run.
Now, is some of it also mentorship as well and trying to find a mentor who's been in the space for, 20 or 30 years?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm very fortunate to kind of come into a business that I knew. Obviously, my dad and his business partner, they've been together for 35 years, and the support staff been together for 10 years. So I knew them right off the bat. So I was comfortable with them and learning in that environment. But it's something that they kind of started feeding me a lot more on my plate and teaching me and putting things on me, um, giving me a lot more responsibilities faster, which helped me grow faster as well.
Now, what's something that a lot of people don't know about the job or that a lot of people would kind of look past, if you will?
It's a lot of organizational stuff, and I think in speaking with families and making sure that they know what's going on with their health care or their payments here or their retirement plan or income here or expenses there, or just kind of opening their eyes to that certain things can all work together for a financial plan. We don't just sit in front and do trades and trade the stock market. We're more of planning long term to seeing what can happen, and the stock market is going to be that roller coaster that hopefully takes the escalator up continues to go up. So we don't wear ourselves with that, but we make sure that we have a plan. So if something does happen, things are all organized and everything's working together as a team, basically. So I try to relate it back to sports as much as possible.
Yeah, I was just gonna go off of that. How does that kind of tie in with the lacrosse as well?
Yeah, so I think you want to work together. So not only we do wealth management, we also work with some other like CPAs for tax purposes, some state lawyers. So you have to have that teamwork, camaraderie aspect of it, but just making sure that we have everything buttoned up. Like we practice what we were talked about. We plan for this big event and all that stuff. So it's more of staying organized and staying together. And we view our clients as our team and teammates. So we're on this together. We're going to work together. We're going to help you. We're not going to dictate and tell you what to do. We're teammates in this process, and that's kind of how we relate to our clients.
So it's more of kind of being a peer versus kind of being the teacher or the instructor, if you will.
Yep, yep. The only time I say is I'll be a teacher teaching them or talking to our clients about what an IRA is or how capital gains tax or income tax would affect them. It's more of, okay, this is what you have. These are your goals. How can we achieve them together? This is what you want to buy a house in 10 years. Okay, let's start doing this, this, and this. What can we do together to reach those goals?
Now, has there been any surprises or things that you didn't expect either from a, a particular client or in general that you were kind of surprised or taken aback by?
Each client's different, which is exciting. I think that makes it new and exciting every day. You don't have the same monotonous, okay, repeat, repeat, repeat. So certain events happen for clients, which is um, it's sometimes it's life changing for them, which is hard. So we're here to be that support for them. So those when they have different difficult situations, it is hard to have those conversations with clients about events that happen that they are death in the family, et cetera, that are really tough for them. But I think it's something that I want to be there for them and that support. So it's nice to have that. So those are the parts that I didn't know about the job is the those real emotions of being with people during those times.
Now, what about for something that you learned, whether it was advice from a client or advice that you learned, if you will?
The one I don't know everything. That's the one thing that I just keep walking in every day saying I don't have all the answers to everything, but I'm going to do my best to try to find more answers or to keep learning every day as I go. Um, and with the new tax laws and retirement laws, there's something changing every year. So kind of staying up to date on that stuff. So I think that being able to navigate and um, kind of ride the waves of everything and being with everybody is something that I like, and I know that I don't know everything, so I'm going to be honest with our clients and say, "Yep, I don't have an answer for that, but we will find somebody. We'll call our back office, we'll call our support staff, and we'll get an answer for you."
Now, is the plan to kind of stay where you are, or is it kind of going to be let it happen? In which, in your case, like, you know, unexpectedly taking a pivot if that happens from, being a teacher to, working at a wealth company, is that could that happen again is kind of what I'm driving at.
I think where I am right now, I'm pretty comfortable and I enjoy my job. I think just taking a bigger role in the company would be the next facet of being the lead of the firm and kind of hiring people underneath me would be the next eventual change. But for me right now, working where I am, I don't see a pivot in the occupational occupational status of my job. Now, would I go back and coach my kids' lacrosse team? Yeah, probably. But that's about the extent of what I'll do in that regard.
Now, how do you and your company kind of see things? Do you plan it out kind of like here's our 10-year and here's our 20-year plan, or is it kind of what's right around the corner?
It's so I think we break it down for that depending on what the client's long-term goals are, short-term goals, to make sure that we meet each client's needs. Because some clients are at 30 years old, they're looking long-term down the road to retirement. Some that are 25, they're just getting started. Okay, how can we help them put as much money away as possible? What can they afford from their paycheck to put into their 401k versus the income account? So it varies per client, which I think I said earlier. It's like it's nice that not everybody's the same. So you're doing something new every day. It's kind of new problems, new things to handle, which is nice rather than teaching the same history lessons every year over and over again. So, um, but it's nice. So yeah, I wouldn't say that we look 1 year versus 10 year. I think it depends on the age of the client and what their goals are, but we do have a long-term goal for everybody and then short-term needs, wants, all that good stuff.
Now, how has you working in this industry kind of shifted your perspective on it? Meaning, going before you came into the industry versus now, how are they different, if you will?
Yeah, I think prior when I was working in the education field and so forth, it was more, just you got your paycheck, you got it, you just paid your bills and you're moved on. You didn't think about, okay, well, can instead of going out to dinner 4 nights a week, can I put that money away and put somewhere else? And can I save up for my kids' education now? So a lot of that growing up, I think helped me with having more responsibilities of like, okay, now I got to figure out what this money's going to. Um, and now in this profession, it's really more eye-opening of, okay, yeah, we need to get in touch with the younger generations to know, yes, put this away, save this. You don't need to go out every year or go to this concert every night and do all that stuff and spend on all the entertainment purchases. Let's put $100 a month here, $100 a month there. So um, that's kind of something that's opened my eyes more than now that I'm in this field than prior.
So do you say part of it is kind of a little bit of compounding interest, like starting small with what you have, but then allowing it to grow over time?
That's you hit the big one there, buddy. Good job. But yeah, that just showing that presentation to our clients at 25-year-olds that are like, oh wow, that could what happen if I put this away now, and when I'm 50, I have this much money. It's like if based on years history, yes, that's what could potentially show. So it's nice to have that impact and be able to help those that young because they'll be able to benefit so much more down the road.
Now, do you think that it's smarter to start younger versus kind of waiting and kind of going off of what you said, being smart with your money and not, spending it on a concert ticket or going out
Yeah.
4 nights a week?
Now, do I think that kids should be able to have fun and excitement and enjoy? Yes, absolutely. But if you have some to put away and I always say like let your money work for you. So put your money away, invest it so that money is working for you over time. So it's rather than that buying experiences. I think later in life, then you'll have more experiences that you want to enjoy, and that's what that money that you built up over time will really help you.
Now, how does teaching yourself, how is it different from like getting taught something like for a job versus like either, being a student or being a teacher, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're like I said, I don't know everything, so I'm still constantly learning no matter what. And I think the same thing when we were teaching, when I was teaching, like something new happens, whether it's the COVID, you had to figure out how to teach online via COVID and then Zoom and all that stuff. So and new lessons that you want to teach and new projects. So you're always constantly learning, whether no matter what job field you're in. Um, what you should be learning constantly, or just kind of updating it so you're not just repeating what you've gone, because I think that becomes stagnant, and not as fun. So it's something that I just like being able to teach myself because I like being in control. I like having that factor of, okay, yeah, I can carve out these 45 minutes to read a lesson here or read up on this new law here or new there. So I like having that aspect of it, being on my own schedule, which is really nice, rather than having to listen to what other people are saying or going on their time schedule.
Now, how does that kind of benefit you and help you, meaning allowing you to be in control for when you learn and for when you kind of set your own
Yeah,
schedule, if you will?
I mean, so kind of the whole way I navigated this job. So I was still working at and teaching. And I had a 1-year old at the time, and in order to do the career change, I had to get certain licensing and knows of the business. And so I would study from 8 p.m. to about 11 o'clock at night, go to bed, wake up, help out, get my kid to school, daycare, and then go teach at Spalding, and then kind of coach practice, and then come home and find that time at the end. So I would kind of self-taught my way because that was the only time that fit my schedule. So I was taught at a young age either find a way or make a way. So kind of figured out I'd make my way, studying late at night or later at night. My daughter went to bed. So
Now, what is it? I think you mentioned something about the tax law. How does it always change every year?
yeah,
Did you,
just because new legislation passes, certain things change, age limits change, income limits change. So something's always constantly being updated with inflation, et cetera. So just kind of got to be on your toes to say what's the latest and keep reading and researching and staying tuned into what's going on. So that's never going to change no matter what. In this business, there's always going to be something new and exciting and or I won't say exciting, but new and important that you have to pay attention to.
So it's always a matter of kind of learning what the new rules or the new policies are
Yep.
for the
Yep.
tax
Always,
code.
yeah, always being on your toes and making sure you're taking care of everything.
And how can somebody who's like my age or 18 to 22 kind of learn about the tax code or take advantage of it, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of it is depending on the income. If you're still a student versus employee, there's a lot of rules and if you're still dependent on your parents' tax return. So, all that stuff. I think it's good to be aware of what's happening. I don't think you need to be experts by any means, but knowing what your income here and what dollars go to there for Social Security, Medicare, all that long term for the taxes, I think helps just to be aware of knowing what's coming in for your income and what's going out for your bills and expenses. I think is very that cash flow is very important to have an idea of it rather than, oh cool, just got $50. Let's go do this or that. So I think that's the most important thing for that age group is just to understand, you're not always going to have, don't put everything on a credit card if you can't pay it off. So just because you have a credit card doesn't mean you have the money to spend, you have the money to afford it. So know what's coming in and what's going out.
And kind of the same thing with like assets and like putting it into a real estate property or whatever it might be.
Yep. So there's, again, the investment side of things, there's so many different routes that you can go in terms of buying businesses in stock market, real estate, you name it. So um, it's something, but make sure that that is something that that your age and your generation hopefully is starting to understand as you start embark on what your next chapters.
Now, how does it in fact affect you? Like if you're an employee and you have a certain amount of money that's taken out of your pay, meaning like you know where some of it goes, but you don't know where the rest of it goes, so to speak.
Well, with kind of your paychecks and depending on if you're a W-2 employee or 1099, whether you're getting taxes taken out or not, the FICA taxes for that you're paying for your Social Security down the road and the state taxes, federal taxes, all that taken out already. So I think just being aware and meeting with a financial planner or a tax attorney or CPA, just kind of knowing why this happens and where it goes. So it allows you to know, yeah, I make 2,500 bucks for my salary, but ultimately I'm only coming home with 2,200 because of the taxes and what's coming in, what's coming out. So just being aware of that is something that I think is important for kids to new workforce employees or should know moving forward.
Now, what about like investing in the stock market or mutual fund?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the stock market, obviously there's the chance of losses and the scary part about it. But um, looking back on the history and the performance of it, roughly 10% on the year of growth, looking back to like the 1920s. So um, the money in the stock market will, if you look at it, always continues to grow up, whether it's could go down for 5 straight years, but over that 10-year period, it's usually up. So long term, but again, knowing what your risk tolerance is of when you need this money, when you don't. But I always feel that money in the market is something that is better to be in the market than out of the market because of ways that the history has proven in the stock market over time. So if you can afford to put that money away, I always say set it and forget it. Don't think about this money now, think about it long term. Then if the stock market dips a couple of days, it's okay because you're not going to need this money for 10 years down the road. So kind of
No,
set it and
what
forget it.
did what advice would you have for either people who currently have a business or who are thinking about like starting a business?
That's kind of if you have an idea that you're confident in and proud of and ready to go, I think starting a new business up I mean, I'm all for it, especially those that are passionate and have the ability and determination to be successful. Then, like I said, find a way or make a way to make it work. Uh, so that's something that I never want to say, don't follow your dreams, don't have this envision, but put the work in, understand what it might be. Obviously, it's going to be a longer road ahead than you originally might have planned, and be okay with that. Plan some more. I always say that conservative approach, like if you think it's going to take 2 years, plan for five type thing, because it's going to be a lot longer. It could be more until you see the fruits grow and etc. So don't get too discouraged. The light at the end of the tunnel could be closer than you think.
Some more kind of just not caring and just like starting, if you will.
I mean, I would say not caring, knowing the way the pros and cons of it, but you're not going to be successful if you don't try. So why not? Especially at the age when you where you are, you have some time. Like again, I made a career change at 35. So there it happens where give yourself a chance to try here, 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 here. If that doesn't work, then try there. So might as well follow your passion and your dreams now, to see if you can be successful as long as you have the that work ethic and the determination.
Um, Now, do you think that shoot, I just lost my train of thought for a
That's all
second.
right.
What have you learned in like budgeting and the kind of the I would say like in the normal, but also kind of the like advanced, if you will, for like what to do on like a day-to-day basis or how to be smart with your money, so to
Yeah,
speak.
I just say I always know what's coming in and what's going out. Like for example, you can see your credit card statement or your bank statement. You go, wow, I didn't know I'm still on that subscription. I haven't done that in 3 months. Why am I still getting charged for the subscription? So just knowing kind of what's going in and what's going out, so you're staying on top of things, so you're in the know, gives you a better understanding of what's happening and why you're doing things. Is this subscription worth this or that? Is this money being spent wisely for here or not? Do I enjoy this? Do I enjoy that? Okay, yeah, I do. Then okay, that price is worth it. So that's what I just want to say. Like, understand what's coming in, what's going out. Are you able to afford this or that? And are you paying for a subscription that you didn't you didn't even know you had anymore?
It's kind of
Because
understanding where your money's going versus just letting it disappear, so to speak.
yep, there needs to be a reason for everything. So
Um, so the question that was left for you, by the last guest is what's your why?
I think wanting to help out and give people a better sense of their finances to make sure that they're better off so they can be a better dad at home, be a better mom, be a better sister, because finances is a tough subject to talk to people about. And if we can kind of help map them out and say, okay, this is your plan, this is what you can do, let's keep doing this, and we'll take care of everything. I think that gives them a sense of peace and understanding. So it allows them to have less on their plate, less anxiety, more kind of being free with their current lifestyle that they're living. So being able to give peace of mind to clients, I think is very valuable.
Now, um, flipping that, what question would you ask the next guest that comes on? Because you don't know who the next
Yeah.
guest is gonna be.
Um, the question would be, what was one event that changed the way you thought? What's one event or what's one thing that changed the way you thought or changed the way you went about things in your job? Or for me, why I switched jobs?
And my final question is, are there 2 to 3 people that you'd recommend for the podcast?
Um, I mean, you just did Pratt. Have you done Coach Hawk was a really good one. He's a very good motivational kind of guy. For that, I'm trying to think of like outside of business side of things. Hawk would be a good one just because he understands a lot of real world issues and is a big motivational speaker too. So I think that'd be good for your audience.
And do you have any um, questions or final remarks, if you will?
No, I mean, I think it's great that you're doing this and navigating this route. I think it's good to see you being outgoing and talking and interacting with these people in these workforces because hopefully you're getting a little bonus out of this as well, helping you navigate to see what you might want to do next. But I also think your audience is going to love this too. So
I think, um, yeah. So this was episode number 20 of the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast. And Brian, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, even though I'm sure that um,
I look forward to
that you
yeah,
manage your own schedule so that you're able to
yeah.
budget
Sorry,
when things happen.
I had to bump you back a little bit, but no, it's great to see you again and catch up. I'm glad to see that you're making some progress with this, and if I can help down the road, let me know.
I will do. And dang, CTA. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or YouTube, hit the subscribe button, the notification button, and be sure to leave a comment. And until next time, peace.
See ya.